Well, hello everyone. It's Tim Topham here, and I'm speaking to you from a very sunny, not Melbourne winter's day. I hope you're really, really well, and I'm looking forward to chatting to you today about a few different topics that are really, really important, I think, well, at this time of the year, but generally speaking, for us all of the time. Because they really impact on all the stuff that we get done or don't get done at the same time. But I'm going to just wait a couple of minutes for people to tune in. And in the meantime, just a quick summary. The first season of the podcast goes live, or the first episode of season 3 goes live in about 20 hours time or thereabouts. So that's, they're always released about 11 a.m. Eastern Time, United States. So look out for that. Our first episode is all about motivation and practice with Aaron from Piano Marvel. Excuse me. Great episode. I'm really looking forward to releasing that to you. Also next week, I'll be heading over to my last presentation, I think, of the year, which will be over in Auckland, New Zealand. So I'm going east, but not as far east as I have been going when I've been going to the United States, lots this year. So that'll be great to see some of the New Zealand teachers over there for a quick workshop that we're doing on the Thursday next week. It's going to be really good. And the other thing I'm working on is the lead sheet course and webinar and resources. Now, I've teamed up with the one and only fantastic Forrest Kinney, who most of you will know, who's an absolute superstar. This guy, if you haven't come across his books, his writing, his workshops, you're missing out, but you're not going to be missing out for long, because I've teamed up with him to create some of the most ultimate resources for teaching lead sheets. And that's what I'm working on at the moment with him. He's getting all that in place for a big launch that we're doing right at the end of August. So do look out for that. All right, so that's a quick summary of some of the things that I'm working on. Great to see a few people already saying hi to Sophie, Joyce, Fraser's there, Darren, Catherine. Fantastic to have you guys here. Thank you very much for saying hi and tuning in today. So my goal for today, to give you a few strategies and a few ideas, and also to give you a big announcement about something that I'm doing to helping people who are struggling with time. So yeah, give me a give me a thumbs up if that's something that is affecting you at the moment. It's something that keeps coming up whenever I do surveys for teachers. So some of you may have participated in my deep dive survey. I do one every couple of years. And the most recent one, in all of the surveys, I always ask the question, what are you struggling with most at the moment? And if you're on live, just feel free to just pop a comment in there. What are you struggling with most at the moment? If you can just put it into a few quick words. I wonder if it's going to be the same as the 2 most common responses that I got to this survey. Can you guess what they are? Well, one of them is practice. It always comes down to practice. Getting kids practice, getting them to practice, getting them motivated, always comes up. That is one of the biggest things. The second biggest thing, or the other response that kept coming back, teachers are struggling with time. I don't have enough time to do things that I want to. I'm not seeing my family enough. I'm teaching too much. I'm not getting a chance to organize my curriculum. I have information, books, folders, and music everywhere, and I'm just hanging on to getting in there before the next student and getting them organized. Never enough time. So let me actually read out just a couple of these responses that I got to see if they actually resonate with you. Someone said, being organized about all my materials. I haven't sorted all my materials by level and concept. I need to make a clear timeline to get all that kind of stuff organized. Organization and scheduling. I'm spending too much time planning, juggling teaching and preparation time, organizing my resources. No more time to market. The biggest challenge is streamlining all the systems that I use day to day. I'm having trouble balancing 2 jobs with family life. I often work on preparing my piano materials and lessons deep into the night. It's exhausting, and I'd love to find a way to get ahead. Accounting, keeping up with the resources, organizing my business, finding enough time to do everything properly. I'm literally reading these responses that came through. Just a couple more. Organization is my main concern. As I teach in a school and home, I have a lot of preparation time, but I never get it all done. making time for professional development, organizing my business structure, time management with my 4 kids. I'm just not getting enough done. Burnout. I'm teaching a long time. I've been teaching a long time. I have favorite things at work, but I'm compelled to keep up with the latest approaches and integrate them into my teaching. I'm pulling my hair out. So these are the kinds of things that I'm hearing from teachers all over the world at the moment. And so if that's something that you resonate with, then I totally get it, because it is definitely an issue. And so when I feel this issue of time constraint myself, I really ask myself 2 things. Is it about what I'm prioritizing? And am I doing a good job of prioritizing what I need to do? And how effective am I at using the time that I've got available? And these 2 things I think are really, really important. So one of the ways that I actually structure all the things that I need to do is I use something called the Eisenhower matrix. And if you haven't heard of this, it's a very, very simple concept that gets you to plot all the things that you need to do on a graph. And I use the vertical axis. I'm actually looking at my matrix up here. Vertical axis, important, not important. And the other axis, urgent, not urgent. And the idea is then you just put all of the things you need to do into that matrix, and you find out what's important and urgent, and that's what you start on, the stuff that's up in the top corner. The other things, you either leave, or you get someone else to do, or you find another way around it. So you might get a piece of software that can do that for you if it's repetitive, things like that. So that's one thing I do. The other issue that we've all got with effective use of our time is something that you might have heard of called Parkinson's Law. Has anyone heard of that? Parkinson's Law is the theory that work expands to fill the time available. I'm not sure if you've heard of this before. Work expands to fill the time available. So if you tend to have 3 hours, or if you've got 3 hours to do a job, it'll probably take 3 hours. But if you only have 30 minutes to do that same job, you'll probably get it done in 30 minutes. And so this idea of effectiveness of the time that we spend doing things is an important consideration as well. And I'm really thinking about this at the moment because I'm about to become a foster parent. And that's actually not the big announcement today, but it is kind of a big announcement, definitely for me anyway. So I'm really conscious that by taking on school-age students or children, I'm going to be very much constrained in the amount of time, that I have available to do the work that I need to do on my business. At the moment, if I need to, I can start at 7 in the morning and I can finish at 7 at night if I've got to do a whole lot of stuff. But when we've got children to look after, that's going to obviously change. I'm going to have a much more constricted time, so I'm going to have to be much more efficient with my time. So these are all things that I'm really, really conscious of as I go through things. And I'm always trying to think of how I can help teachers be better with their time management and effectiveness as well. And so as part of the InnerCircle membership, we've got something called our Growth Journal forums, which are a great way for teachers to be able to track what they're doing. So at the start of the month or week, whatever your time frame is, or every 2 weeks, you say, right, this is what I'm trying to achieve in the next couple of weeks. And then come back in 2 weeks and tell us actually how you went. And it's a great way because other members can jump in if you've got questions or just to say, hey, love seeing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. And the importance of actually writing down goals shouldn't be missed as well. And I remember the first time we did a 4-week challenge in the InnerCircle, I contributed my thoughts on practice. Actually, I set my own goals on practice and I didn't do so well. And it was kind of embarrassing after saying, this is what I'm going to do, I'll practice a day, coming back after a few days or the first week and saying, well, actually, I wasn't so good at that. It's kind of embarrassing. So that accountability really helps. And actually, let me just play you a quick clip. Some of you probably joined Nicola and I on the piano pivot at the end of last year. It was a fantastic 5-day challenge to get everything really organized for the new year. And I'm just going to play you a 30-second clip from the final wrap-up video, which talks about the importance of not just writing down goals, but how much more effective it can be when you have someone actually helping you with your goals. Let me just show you this. Hang on a sec.
The quote that I had before was about the impact of writing down goals. So it said this: people that write down goals are 39% more likely to achieve them than others who don't write them down. But more importantly, those who write their goals and report their progress to a friend or coach are 76% more likely to achieve their goals.
So if you've probably heard these stats before, and look, I'm not sure exactly where I got them from. I literally couldn't find the reference. And, some of these things on the internet, we always have to take with a grain of salt. However, if I just go by my own experience of having a personal trainer at the gym or having a piano teacher one-on-one, there is no doubt that I've made more progress in the times that I've had a teacher working with me one-on-one or a personal trainer or a coach than I have in the months preceding. So in my opinion, one of the most effective ways that I can actually help you with time management and structure is by providing coaching, which is not something that I currently do, but today's big announcement is that that's what I'm going to start organising for you. So I'm actually releasing next week information about something called the Elite 12-Week Coaching Program. And it's all about connecting you one-on-one with a personal coach and mentor who can actually step by step take you through the goals and the steps you need to take to achieve the goals you need to do in a really specific timeline, 12 weeks. And remember, going back to Parkinson's law, how important it is to have that clear goal and the restriction in time, because it's going to make things happen. And the other thing is that having a coach on hand means that you've got someone who's very closely involved with you, is 100% aligned with you, and there to support you and to hold you accountable. Tim, you didn't do any practice last week. That's actually not good enough. We need to work this out. So let's go through your time, your schedule, and let's work out how we can find that extra bit of time so you can get into practice or whatever it is that you're doing. So it might be that you're looking to just completely get your curriculum sorted and all your information. You've got digital files on every different computer and in all different folders. It's a complete mess. There's stuff all over the floor. Getting all that sorted. That might be your goal for the 12 weeks. You might want to start teaching group lessons in the 12 weeks. You might want to finally hire a studio space and rent somewhere else. That might be what your goal is to achieve in those 12 weeks. It might be about becoming more creative in your teaching and really getting confident at finally being able to teach a lesson with no music and getting a student in and doing some pop songs with them with confidence. So maybe it's about the pedagogy side of your studio business. Maybe it's not about growing huge numbers. Maybe it's just about bringing in a regular stream of students. Maybe it's about getting that time to set up a marketing system that's actually going to work to bring people in. Maybe it's about learning about Facebook ads for the first time or Google ads or whatever it is. You get the idea. This is what I can see so many people doing. And yes, this is going to be an extra expense for studio owners, but I want you to think of expenses like this as investments, because that's exactly what they are. They're investments in your future. They're investments in your studio business and, in fact, your personal life and your social life, because we're going to hopefully help you get some of that back. I'm going to give you, in just a moment, just a few little ideas about how you can find more time, because I know that's the big issue, and I really want to leave you with some value and some ideas to take away from today. But in the meantime, the 12-week Elite Coaching Program, as I say, it's going to launch next week. This is for InnerCircle members. So if you're not an InnerCircle member, then you need to jump on board. You can find out more about it and get connected at timtopham.com/community if you haven't already done so. It's only members that are going to be invited to this. And the first step next week is to actually get on an invite list, because I know this isn't going to suit everyone. Not everyone's going to be ready to do this. Many people will be more than happy to keep spending time themselves looking at resources and working out what they want to do. I think the thing about coaching is that it really laser focuses everything that you're going to do. So while you might be able to take months to do one of the things that you want to do, organize that curriculum, having a coach and committing the time will just go, it'll just laser focus you to that goal, and you'll achieve so much in the 12 weeks. I think it's quite likely that people will achieve more in the 12 weeks than they might otherwise in 12 months of trying to do this kind of thing themselves. So that is the approach that I'm taking with this. And I think, think about it as the outcome that you could get too. How would it feel to have more time to spend with your family? I know a lot of people have said that is one of the biggest frustrations and issues with teaching at the moment. You're spending all your time on your business and in your teaching, and your family just gets pushed back and back. What about just getting more time to plan your lessons and feel confident about what you're doing there? What about how cool will it feel to maybe teach a few less hours in the week? That's not going to suit everyone. Some people may want to teach more hours, but for some of you, that will be great, because then again, it will open up some other doors of things that you can do, like practice. Maybe you could fit in your own practice, get back to your own roots of playing piano. And as I say, maybe you can finally set up those group classes or buddy classes, or lease that studio space, or grab that iPad and get it really dialed in and organized so that you know what you're doing when you're using it in lessons. So they're just some of the things that I think you'd be able to have incredible success with and get it done in a short amount of time. And that's really what I want to focus on too. So let me give you just a few little tips about time and some things to think about. They're not quick solutions, unfortunately, but I think if you're looking to find more time, which is what all of this comes down to, the reasons why people are struggling with trying to do so many things is because there's not 4 hours in the day where they can just go and do things. So how can you find more time? Well, step one, or option one, would be to teach less. And so you've kind of got three sub-options there. Either you charge more, you teach more than one student at a time, or you hire another teacher to help you. So they are really the three kind of options you've got if you want to teach less in order to give yourself more time. Group teaching is not going to suit everyone, and I think charging more isn't necessarily going to work in all areas too. But I also know from the survey, because I asked people what they earn, that there's quite a lot of room for growth in the amount that you charge everyone. Just putting it out there. We can talk more about that on another Facebook Live, and I can actually share the stats of what the percentages were. I shared it with the audience at MTAC in California the other month, and there was some shock in the audience about what some people are charging. So stay tuned to that. So charging more might not be an option, but it might be. So the other option is to hire another teacher. And I'm really excited to let you know that this is actually very possible if it's of interest to you. And I've got a guest on the podcast this season, so it's in just a couple of weeks' time, who is telling us the story of how she went about hiring her first extra teacher to teach some lessons for her, because she wanted to cut back on teaching in order to do more performing. So there you go. That information's coming up soon. So you've got one option, which is to teach less. Second option is to automate and use software to do things that you would otherwise spend time doing. So I've talked many, many times about software like My Music Staff, which can do stuff like automate all your billing, so you never have to think about it again. And I've got information on that on my blog, exactly how you do it, how I did it, the calculations you need, things like that. I mean, that's a simple way to save a whole lot of time when you would be otherwise sending out invoices, chasing up missed payments, going to the bank and cashing checks, all this kind of stuff. Just forget it, get rid of all that. There's some time found if you're not doing that already. Other things that you can automate are things on your website. So instead of having people necessarily ring you when they want to sign up for a new lesson, they can actually click a button that will send an email through, and you can set up a system so that an email will automatically bounce back to them saying, wow, so fantastic that you're interested in lessons. We are so excited to see you. Here's a link to fill out our online form, which would go straight into your software. So again, no paperwork. We're going to get in touch with you in the next 24 hours to tee up your first lesson, or whatever it is, however you want to do it. But, using software to automate some of those business systems can bring more time to you so that you can go and do some of those other things. So that's my quick second tip. My third one is to hire help. And I know probably the first thing you're thinking about if you haven't hired people to help you before is, oh my goodness, how does that even work? That sounds like a lot of hassle. And it's too expensive and I can't afford it, so I'm going to keep doing things myself. And they are completely legitimate and valid concerns. And I felt all of those ones in the past. But I'm a big proponent of using the freelance economy, which is kind of being called now, where people around the world are happy to do things online for other businesses. And if you find people in other countries where the pay rate is a lot less, then they can be being paid $5 to $10 an hour, and that's a fantastic wage in their country. And you have someone who can help you with some of those admin tasks that you would otherwise be sitting there on the weekend doing when you'd much prefer to be with your family. Now, I can't go into detail about how the best to do that. If you want to know the website I use, it's called Upwork, upwork.com. And if you're an InnerCircle member, you can actually watch a video about me using that. And I show you exactly some of the pitfalls, some of the ways to make sure that you hire the right people through that bit of software. But they're my three just quick goals before I start wrapping things up today, or three ideas about finding more time. Teaching less, and I gave you three suggestions there, automating some processes and using software, or hiring what we might call a virtual assistant, someone around the world to help you with some of the online things that you shouldn't actually be spending your time doing. Now, all of this, of course, is the kind of thing that a coach can help you with and actually step you through, give you links to great resources to help you set up those email auto-responding programs and marketing systems and music software and whatever else it is. So if you would like to get on the wait list for the Elite 12-week coaching program, then as I said, you just need to be an InnerCircle member. That's it. There's no other buttons to click or anything like that. If you're an InnerCircle member, you'll be getting an email from me on Monday all about this program and how to get on what I've called the invite list, which will then be the group of people that we share the final details of this program with, because as I said before, I know not everyone is going to be wanting this at the moment. So if you haven't yet joined us in the InnerCircle, head to timtopham.com/community. It'd be fantastic to have you in there. Great to see Sophie saying very exciting. Thank you, Darren. Congratulations. I'm assuming that's on the fostering. I'm looking very, very much forward to helping out some kids with that. Although, as I say, I've got to really look at my time management then in a big way. Sophie says this sounds perfect. That's great. Interesting concept, Christina. Well, I hope so. And I hope you guys are interested enough to check it out. And as I say, if you're watching this live or the replay and you're not in the InnerCircle, and you'd like to be involved in this 12-week coaching program, then make sure you sign up at some stage in the next little while, preferably over this weekend. And that's it from me today. I hope that was helpful. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's an absolute pleasure hanging out with you, again, wherever you are in the world. I will look out for a few of you in New Zealand next week. And in the meantime, stay tuned to the podcast. Season 3 goes live Friday, Eastern Time, 11 a.m. with our first episode. And it's a cracker season. Don't know if that's probably an Australianism. Cracker. It's a great season. Apologies if that didn't make sense to you wherever you are. So yeah, let me know if you've got any other questions. Pop a comment in. I will always check through these, whether you're watching live or the replay. Any questions at all? Feel free to write it in the comments. A thumbs up or a heart. I always like seeing them. They kind of bounce around my screen when they come through. So if you're inclined to give one of those, please do. And of course, if this is something that you feel you'd like to share with some other people in your networks, then there's always that share button somewhere down there. And it's always great to spread the word about these kinds of things too. Sophie, thank you very much. InnerCircle is 100% worth it. Best resources there. Superstar. Really appreciate you saying that. That's really nice. And there we go. I saw some thumbs up. That's great. Great way to leave it. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. Best wishes from me. Have a great last couple of days of the week and weekend ahead. And I'll speak to you next week.